Hey guys, so welcome to the JB's Nature Walk, and today I'm going to discuss the Great Blue Heron Animal Totem. So I actually written down a few notes and put up channel about the Great Blue Heron. I have a lot of experience with this bird, just seeing it in the wild and photographing it, and I had a lot of success with this bird. So something told me, it's like, I might as well, do an animal totem. So I'm going to get to it right now from my notes. Alright, so the great blue heron is quite a unique bird of his stature. I've had many occasions to observe great blue herons hunting up close in person and to just view it living its life in the wild. I've had many success photographing great blue herons, and as you can probably tell, I have quite a few images of this beautiful bird on my website. I thought it's about time that I decode and share with you what the beautiful great blue heron animal totem represents to me through my perspective and through my lens. I will say this also, through watching this bird so many times in the wild, I have learned how to become a better wildlife photographer. The great blue heron lives in freshwater and saltwater habitats. You can find this unique bird living near rivers, lakes, creeks, swamps, ponds, and even on the beach. Great blue herons love water. The water element is tied to the divine feminine energy, and it embodies a subconscious mind, gentleness, self-reflection, introspection, slowing down, creativity, oneness with all, flexibility, wisdom, unconventional, cycles, changes, transformation, peace, tranquility, and reconnecting with your emotions. The great blue heron spends a lot of time in the water looking at his own reflection. This is a symbol for introspection. You can typically find this bird sitting in the shallow water by itself, and the only way to practice self-reflection is by being by yourself. That way you can think peacefully without any distractions inhibiting your attention towards self-reflection. The few things that you can practice self-reflection is to get in touch with your emotions and feelings. Ask yourself these questions. Am I acknowledging what and how I am feeling at the present moment? Have I released certain emotional blockages from myself that no longer serve my purpose? You can also write down how you are feeling right now to release the thoughts from your mind. Alright. Since the great blue heron prefers to live near water, its element is water. But it is also air as well, since it does take to the skies. The air element is tied to the divine masculine energy, and it embodies knowledge, intellect, analytical fluidity, thoughts, thought forms, belief systems, clouded thoughts, the mind, and the conscious mind. The great blue heron urges you to find balance between both the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, between your divine masculine side and your divine feminine side. Once you find balance within yourself, you become one with all and the universe. Planet Neptune rules birds, the sky, and the water. And any water bird is ruled by Planet Neptune. Planet Neptune color is blue and indigo, just like a clear blue sky or like the blue color of the ocean. The bird also eats fish. The act of the heron snatching a fish from the water represents pursuing and accomplishing one's dreams and goals. The fish is tied to the astrology sign of Pisces, and this sign is concerned with dreams, the spiritual realm, and its astrology symbol is the fish. The great blue heron urges you to constantly work towards pursuing your dreams and goals and to never give up on them. The great blue heron does use unconventional ways to pursue its fish prey, And this is the part of the journey of the great blue heron. Great blue herons love wading into shallow water, and it stands still in the water to wait for unsuspected fish to swim close enough to it so that the heron can strike the fish with lightning speed. Great blue herons love spending hours at a time in one spot looking for fish. This says a lot about the heron. Great blue herons are extremely patient. If you love great blue herons, you're a very patient individual. Not so many people can sit in one spot for hours at a time with ease. I can speak from experience. It is not easy, but this is what I do to photograph birds when I'm out in the field. Great blue heron animal totem urges the individual who has this bird as an animal totem to always practice patience when trying to pursue what they want out of life. Here is a quote that I have written. It's always worth the wait if you want a great opportunity to come your way. Jabari Bellamy. Great blue herons are powerful hunters, and they are predators to a lot of animals. This heron eats fish, reptiles, amphibians such as frogs and toads, snakes, young, baby alligators, other small birds, and rodents. This bird is an opportunistic predator. Whenever that is smaller than it is within striking distance is up for grabs. Whoever has a great blue heron as their animal totem urges the individual to not be picky about pursuing certain opportunities that happen to pop up along the path. Here are some quotes that I have written down that are inspired by the great blue heron animal totem. Anything is a great opportunity, especially if you have never had any opportunities show up for you from the beginning. Jabari Bellamy. Perspective is what separates the predators from the prey. Jabari Bellamy. Predators are strategic, patient, and observant. These are qualities that the great blue heron embodies. I have touched up on patience, so let's touch base on the other traits of a predator. The great blue heron is also very strategic when hunting. One way this bird hunts is by wading into shallow water to look for unsuspected fish prey. By standing still and when a fish swims close enough, within striking distance of the heron, the heron positions his neck and protrudes his neck into the water and snatches the fish from out of the water. Another way this bird hunts is by hunting along the edges of a field near a waterway and walks around the edge of the water to find nearby fish. This heron also walks on land to find food such as reptiles and amphibians and rodents. For individuals who have the great blue heron as their animal totem, it urges you to be creative about how you pursue and accomplish your goals in your day-to-day life. So, for example, if your initial strategy didn't work for you, try another way and keep trying different ways until you get what you want or need. That's the only way you are going to learn, through trial and error. How do you think nature has evolved so well? Through trial and error. This is the universal language in plain sight that many of us seem to overlook from time to time. The great blue heron is very observant. Observation stems from consciousness. What is consciousness? Awareness. Awareness of one's environment, awareness of one's thoughts and thought forms, awareness of one's belief system, awareness of the universe that one resides in. Awareness is higher intelligence and is the only instrument to instruct and direct change within one's environment. Without consciousness, you have unconsciousness and subconsciousness. These two energies don't enforce change, they are just forms of creativity and energy. Through conscious observation, this is when the masculine energy needs to step in and direct and enforce movement of the creative energies to produce a change within the environment. If no one uses their mind, then they become unconsciously operated by the highs and lows of the universal mental pendulum. This is literally how the universe works in a fundamental context. The great blue heron does fly. And I can sometimes spot these birds riding on thermals high above, like how birds of prey fly. The act of flying represents transcendence. This is also another form of consciousness. Now, the only difference here is that the act of flying is tied to your thoughts and thought forms. Remember that air represents the mind. The only way to ascend is by thinking positive thoughts. Positive thoughts over negative thoughts. A positive thought is a thought form that vibrates from a higher frequency. Another factor that plays a role is in this is perspective. Without having different perspective of reality, you also have the same perspective. Having different perspectives is key to having and thinking positive thoughts. Viewing your reality from a higher perspective grants you more answers and clues about your reality. Alright? Affirm yourself in the I in your statement. I am powerful, I am patient, I am wealthy. When you speak and affirm the word I in your affirmation, you are telling the universe that you embody that energy form. You must speak in present tense and believe as if you already are that energy form. If you don't, it won't work. The universe is present, not past or future. You can think of the past in the now. You can think of the future in the now. The common denominator is the now, the present moment. The great blue heron does enjoy a lot of alone time to itself. This also implies to the individual who has the bird as the animal totem. There's nothing wrong with being alone. In fact, we all should be doing this. But some of us feel lonely when just being alone for a few minutes. The great blue heron animal totem urges individuals who have this bird as their animal totem to practice being alone in their day-to-day life so that they can learn more about themselves. How else can you learn about who you are if you're not alone to some degree in your life? On the flip side of the coin, the great blue heron also enjoys the company of his own kind during the nesting season. During the nesting season, there can be hundreds of great blue herons colonies nesting close together in trees near water, and this allows the herons to continue to socialize with birds of their own kind for a few months of the year. The great blue heron animal totem urges people who have it as their animal totem to strike a balance between when to be alone and when to socialize. You can't be too much to one side of the coin and too little on the other side, or the coin would become imbalanced as a whole. The great blue heron is a powerful and masterful totem to have in your life if this bird has picked you to be your animal totem. I hope that you have enjoyed learning about the great blue heron animal totem. From my perspective, I have channeled everything about this, about what the great blue heron represents to me, and all the images in the video are mine. I have spent many years learning from the great blue herons and photographing them. They are a pleasure to watch when in the wild, in the natural element. Enjoy the beauty of nature. So that's basically what I've written down in my notes. But I also wanted to add a few more things. So when I say positive mind or the positive energy actually dominates the negative because negative is a lower frequency. So whatever is a higher frequency dominates and controls and directs that lower frequency, basically. It doesn't, when I say dominate, it doesn't mean like it dictates it and manipulates it. It does that, but not in a negative context. Now, people do that, but intentionally they do it in that way for their own reasons. But what I mean is, when I say positive dominates the negative, it does it in a harmonious way. You have no need to manipulate it, something negative, and like the negative energy in a bad way, just so you can appease your ego. But the positive energy dominates the negative, just in a harmonious way. It's just how both the relationship, the positive and negative work. That's how the energy works, basically. That's the relationship. So that's what I mean by that. Yeah, this is quite a, well, I would say about the great blue heron, I've always had a strong fascination for it. I'll say that this bird picked me as its animal. Um, it's picked me to be its, or to pick, it picked me basically to try to get my words out right. But it picked to be my animal totem basically. I had a lot of success with this bird, as you can probably tell from these pictures. All these are mine, and I've just over the years I've just had a lot of success with it. And I'll say it it can be somewhat easy to photograph, but I don't say that all the time. It's not always easy, but I'll say this. I'll say in most occasions it's a relatively easy bird to photograph and a relatively easy bird to approach, but not all the time. Um, but I do enjoy photographing these birds. They're a pleasure and beauty to witness, just to watch. You don't necessarily have to photograph this bird, but they're just a pleasure to watch out in the field. Just watch them do their thing and just living their life. That's what it's all about. Appreciating nature from the distance. And if you're able to photograph it like me from a distance, that's perfect. Just to capture it and capture the memory of when you saw this bird and just looking back, it's like, oh man, I remember this time when I actually saw this bird up close. So yeah, and I'm glad that I was able to put together this video. Um, and just looking back through all my images, I've spent years gathering all these images. I never thought I would be doing an animal totem on this bird, but to me, I should have done this a long time ago because I photographed it so many times. This is one of the few birds I have a lot of success with. So, yeah. Yeah, the great blue heron is a special bird. And now, I know this bird picked me to have me as it picked me so I can have it as an animal totem. So, the reason I say that, if this bird keeps making an appearance in your life, and you see it like all the time, like maybe every day, it's definitely an animal totem. Now, I think from the last few videos, I think I did the Kenilworth Aquatic Gardens. If you guys seen that video, definitely check that video out. So I was at the Kenilworth Aquatic Gardens, right? This bird, I was actually looking for songbirds. I only found the eastern kingbird. I was looking for more. But anyway, to get to the point, I was in this nearby pond, just sitting in front of this nearby pond, right? Then I saw this large flap, this big bird, this big great blue heron landed right in front of me. I wasn't even expecting that. And that's what I'm talking about. You got this big bird, you weren't expecting it, right? Then you got this large animal approaching you, or just landing right in front of you, and it's making its presence known to you. It wants you to see it clearly, because why it wouldn't have landed in front of you if it wanted to see it. But that's what I'm talking about. It's making itself known to you. If it does that over and over, it's definitely getting your attention. It could be your spirit animal, and maybe you didn't see it again, but if it repeatedly does it through the years, then it's definitely your animal totem. And this happened to me so many times and so many occasions. So I thought it would be a good time to just do an animal totem and definitely show my work of the great blue heron. Some of these images are on my website as well. I didn't put them all on there, but I intend to do that at some point so you guys can check them out. Yeah, the great blue heron is a great sight to see, especially if you live near water. Yeah. So this is the last image of the video. I definitely hope you guys enjoyed listening to what I was saying about the great blue heron, what it represents from my perspective, and if you enjoyed my imagery. Definitely like, comment, share, subscribe, guys. Definitely buy my books and my prints. The links below the description. definitely donate. You guys follow that link below the description. Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to post another video. I'm just kind of going it, playing it by ear and seeing what happens, but I had to do this animal totem on the Great Blue Heron. And I'm glad I did, and I want to share my thoughts and images with you guys so you can learn and enjoy with me. Alright guys, so you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll see you guys later. Alright, bye.